Casted Crowns Inc. Another lovely day, another lovely evening. We want to touch on a particular topic today, and that particular topic is dealing with traitors. Traitors. Not as far as exchanging of goods, but as far as a person who sides with an enemy or an opposing side at a most vulnerable time of their own people. For example, wartime. There'll be a time of war, a group of people are under attack by another group of people, and one person from the attack group sides with the group that's doing the attacking. Traitors is nothing new. It is nothing specific to any one group of people. Every group has traitors amongst them. Some people betray their own people for a great gain, right? The reward for them was just so much that they had to. It's like they had no choice. They just had to. The riches, the fame, the glory, but you don't know that they actually betrayed their people because they forsake their former life and they start a new life with the people who were much more powerful than the group that they once were a part of, right? So you forsake your identity or your nationality, so to speak, and you join the nationality or the identity of another group, a more powerful group. That is a traitor. One thing in particular, when it comes to Black people, again, there's always traitors amongst every group, but there is something very particular about a traitor amongst Black people. Now, you have traitors of great significance who actually look to crumble a whole community, look to crumble a whole fight or a revolution. They'll look to just destroy the whole thing from within. We oftentimes look and focus on the traitor, but we never actually pay too much attention to the force that's getting the person, that individual, to betray their own. It's as if we let them get away with it. It's as if we're not really too concerned with the offense on their behalf, right? Now, traitors would really do it for any price. It doesn't matter. They'll do it for an egg sandwich, right? But something in particular happens when it comes to Black people. Now, the ones that do it, there is a set group of individuals, especially in the media space. Sports media is the absolute worst, along with politics. Political pundits and sports media personnel, figures, they just lack all objectivity whatsoever when it comes to their own people, when it comes to Black people, specifically Black men. These individuals, there'll be men and women who've reached a particular status in a white establishment. And I'm saying white establishment because that's the way how these traitors, that's how they view it. And for whatever reason, when they reach a particular status in this white establishment, it could be BSPN, right? An organization like that. But whenever they reach a particular status, they must speak disrespectfully and profanely against their own. And they're the only ones who do it. Because when you have employees, you're going to have employees of all different backgrounds, right? Because it would be discrimination if you only had one group of employees. But nevertheless, when you have these employees, you have employees that are white, you have employees that are Asian, you have employees that are Hispanic, that are Black, so on and so forth. But for whatever reason, these particular Black men and Black women speak so disrespectfully only against Black men and they don't speak disrespectfully against Black women. They only speak disrespectfully against Black men. They'll be on TV yelling at them, like actually yelling at them, screaming at them as if they're their child, as if the status that they have reached now permits them and entitles them to get out of this objective character that they're supposed to be in a media space It's supposed to be objectivity. They're supposed to be reporting. They won't report. They'll speak and air out their personal grievances only when it comes to black men. Now, if your job is to report and your job is to cover, wouldn't you then expect them, if they, let's say they were a bit colorful, to speak like that regarding everyone? Wouldn't you expect them to look at the camera and scream at the camera about a white man? But they don't. They will only do that about a black man. Wouldn't you expect them to call names and speak disparagingly about an Asian athlete and a black athlete? No, they don't. And they only seem to do it against black men. They get on TV and they look like a bunch of saggy nipples just on TV. And all they do is curse out their own brother. And that's what they do. And for what? Because their counterparts, right, their peers, their fellow colleagues do not do this about their own particular group. Their own respective groups, this is not being done. So if you see a white sports journalist, he's not getting on TV screaming and yelling about white men. He's just covering the sport. And if he's talking about black men, he wouldn't dare say the things and do the things that some of these black men and black women do regarding black men. They're really not even going to bring up the fact that they're black. They're just going to cover their athletic performance as they should, as how we grew up and we saw sports media to be. But all of a sudden, there became this avenue for this slimy, slippery Negro. And he found his way in, and she found her way in. And it's as if they are getting a pay increase by speaking against their own people in a public space. And why is that? Why do you target and speak so horribly about your own? What permitted you to do so? Who permitted you to do so? Why do you only target your own? Are you getting something out of that? Is your retirement then solidified? Who's putting you up to this slippery, slimy traitor? Who is doing that? Because you have no objective grounds whatsoever. All of your journalistic credibility is flushed down the toilet the minute you engage in such rhetoric. And it's systematic. We know when you're going to do it. We know who you're going to do it with. We know that if somebody has created some form or committed some form of an offense, and this particular person is white, we know you're going to side with them. Both you men and you women, you're going to side with them. You're going to speak very softly about what it is that they did. You're going to try to find ways to be as objective as you possibly can be. But even if you'll offend your journalistic integrity, you have no problem doing so. You have no problem doing so. And what you'll actually do is you actually let it be known that you're not objective at all. As a matter of fact, you have some form of kinship with this person. You admire this person. That's what you will do. Because this person is simply not a reflection of you. But when that reflection mirrors yours, and that black man has either been alleged to have committed something, or you might have seen they've committed something, you'll take it to the furthest extent. Everybody else among you who come from different backgrounds, they won't do what you do. They'll speak about what it is that they did. They'll speak against what it is that they did, but they won't get as colorful as you. And notice, when somebody of that same group that's amongst you, so if it's a white person, if it's an Asian person, if there is an Asian athlete or a white athlete that may have committed a crime or may be accused of committed a crime, those same white journalists, those sports media figures, they won't talk about them the way you talk about your own slippery traitor, Negro. And why is that? Why is that? What exactly are you benefiting from doing that against your own? Against your own. So think about that and think about how, on just such a minor level, how you guys just get involved in such deteriorating behaviors to a community. When did that become a part of sports journalists? Or are you just on-air personalities? Are you just a bunch of clowns? Is that who it is that you are? Are you no different than if we were to go to a circus and see a clown? Are we not to take you serious? Because if so, why are you yelling? If so, why are you showing your frustration? Don't you know there's reporters who go to crime scenes? They don't cry. They don't scream and yell. And they're covering horrific crimes. They're seeing scenes that'll make people get sick from the horror of what they're viewing. All they do is just cover it. All they do is just report. So, once again, a traitor for anything will stand openly, boldly, and speak against their own. And their reward is what? That's the question I have for you.